Have you noticed how your mind refuses to shut off? You carve out some time for yourself, hoping for tranquility, but instead your thoughts race endlessly. The mental noise becomes unbearable, so you reach for distractions, streaming shows, calling friends, scrolling endlessly, or maybe turning to less healthy coping mechanisms. Perhaps there's something you've been wanting to create, a passion project, an online venture, or that entrepreneurial dream you mention to everyone. You've mapped out every possible angle, considered every scenario, analyzed every potential obstacle. Yet despite all this mental preparation, you still haven't actually begun. Welcome to the world of overthinking. When we get trapped in excessive rumination, it damages both our mental wellness and our ability to achieve what we want in life. Simply explained, overthinking means fixating on particular worries or endlessly predicting how situations might unfold. This might manifest as mentally reviewing old interactions, getting stuck on previous experiences, or anxiously forecasting future scenarios where everything falls apart. The mental toll is real. It drains your energy, triggers stress responses, creates physical tension, and can even compromise your health over time. Today's video will help you recognize when you're caught in this pattern, understand what drives it, examine its various forms and consequences, and most importantly, give you concrete strategies to escape this mental prison. How to recognize excessive rumination. If you're questioning whether your thought patterns have crossed into unhealthy territory, watch for these warning signals. You might find one concern dominating your mental space completely. Physical symptoms like muscle tension and restlessness become constant companions. You obsess over circumstances beyond your influence. Your mind replays social encounters on an endless loop. You plan excessively for upcoming events. Decision paralysis sets in as you waffle between choices. Worst-case scenarios consume your imagination, and you devise elaborate contingency plans for disasters that haven't occurred. These indicators, combined with persistent worry or mental fatigue, signal that you've entered overthinking territory. Being able to spot these patterns in your own behavior marks an important starting point. Maybe you've laid awake reviewing an interaction from hours earlier, dissecting everything you communicated, questioning whether different words would have been better. Or you've invested countless hours pursuing the optimal choice, only to end up more paralyzed and stressed than before you started researching. These experiences define the overthinker's struggle, and they're far more widespread than most people realize. Research actually shows this affects huge segments of society, with evidence suggesting chronic ruminators face elevated risks of both anxiety disorders and depressive episodes. What causes this mental spiral? Excessive thinking stems from our discomfort with the unknown. There's a region in our brain dedicated to threat detection and problem resolution. Looking at it through an evolutionary lens, our ancient ancestors needed robust analytical abilities to survive dangers and protect their communities. Modern life doesn't present those same survival challenges, yet our neural architecture, chemical messengers, and protective mechanisms remain unchanged. This means countless people carry a biological tendency toward rumination. Our brains evolved to scan for threats and prepare responses, which proved invaluable when facing predators, but creates problems when we're just trying to respond to a text message. Cultural conditioning also reinforces this behavior. Throughout Western cultures, cognitive ability and academic achievement receive tremendous celebration. Educational systems reward high test scores, and lucrative career opportunities flow to those demonstrating intellectual prowess. Translation? The sharper our thinking, the more validation we receive. The complication emerges because society equates intelligence with prolonged contemplation. Picture yourself facing a challenging mathematics problem during an examination. You invest several minutes analyzing a difficult equation, document your step-by-step reasoning thoroughly, then record your solution with confidence. That methodical approach feels satisfying, and your detailed work will earn recognition too. Contrast that with rushing through without showing your work or giving minimal consideration to the problem. You'll likely arrive at incorrect answers. Even if your answer happens to be right, you won't receive credit for your process. Educational systems consistently reward demonstrated thinking, sometimes valuing it even above correct solutions. Intelligence and contemplation become inseparable. So when intelligence receives praise, extended thinking does too. We've been systematically trained to think more by how modern society functions, And for some individuals, this conditioning evolves into overthinking. Let's examine the various forms overthinking takes. During the 1960s, psychologist Aaron Beck developed cognitive behavioral therapy. This therapeutic approach helps people recognize when they fall into destructive thought patterns. These mental traps connect closely with overthinking, but understanding them can significantly improve your psychological well-being. 3 particularly common traps are binary thinking, catastrophic projection, and excessive generalization. Let's explore each one. Binary thinking means viewing every situation through an either-or lens, success or failure, right or wrong, good or bad. Reality operates with far more nuance than that. Developing the ability to see multiple perspectives matters tremendously because outcomes rarely fall into complete success or absolute disaster. Recognizing the vast middle ground between extremes changes everything. When you catch yourself using words like always or never, you've stumbled into this trap. Catastrophic projection involves magnifying problems far beyond their actual severity. Imagine sitting in traffic delays that make you late for your job. Someone prone to catastrophizing might spiral into believing they'll face termination and complete life collapse. Reality check. Tardiness on one occasion won't destroy your career, and maintaining a calmer perspective serves you better. This thought pattern escalates rapidly, transforming minor frustrations into imagined catastrophes. Excessive generalization means judging current situations based solely on previous outcomes, when reality presents infinite possibilities and varied results for any scenario. Failing once doesn't guarantee perpetual failure, yet overgeneralizers draw exactly that conclusion. Life doesn't work that way. Each circumstance brings unique elements, and historical data doesn't determine future possibilities. Cognitive behavioral therapy centers on identifying these mental traps and questioning their validity. Once recognized, you can restructure these thoughts into more balanced, helpful perspectives. You don't need formal therapy to develop this awareness. You can begin noticing these patterns independently. Simply identifying when you're engaging in these distortions constitutes half the solution. Once you name what's occurring, you can challenge it effectively. So how do we break free from overthinking? Now that we understand rumination inside and out, let's take concrete action to escape the spiral with these practical approaches. Step 1. Develop awareness. Breaking the overthinking habit starts with recognizing when it's happening. This requires mentally tracking your thought focus and intensity. If you're here watching this content, you've already started building greater awareness around your thinking patterns. Make efforts to notice when you're lost in mental loops. Disrupting the rumination flow helps you regain command. Consider setting periodic check-ins throughout your day, asking yourself, am I ruminating right now? This simple inquiry can extract you from the spiral before it deepens. Step 2. Anchor yourself in the now. Mental entanglement in our own narratives happens easily. Anxious thoughts can dominate if we let them. That's why slowing down and grounding yourself in the present moment becomes essential. Exit your mental space and engage with your immediate environment. Achieve this through outdoor time, digital disconnection, and centering exercises like identifying what you can perceive through your senses right now. The 5-4-3-2-1 method works particularly well. Identify 5 visible things, 4 touchable items, 3 sounds, 2 scents, and 1 taste. This redirects attention to immediate reality rather than racing thoughts. Step 3. Adopt a broader perspective. Ask yourself, will this concern matter 5 years from now? Does this situation warrant the emotional energy you're investing? Usually it doesn't. Zooming out provides crucial context. That message you're agonizing over, that awkward moment at the social gathering, that choice you keep reconsidering. How meaningful are these in your life's bigger narrative? This mental reframing can feel incredibly freeing. Step 4. Prioritize movement over deliberation. Research indicates roughly half the population leans toward contemplation while the other half favors action. If you naturally gravitate toward thinking, you're probably more vulnerable to rumination. Choosing action and forward movement pulls you from mental loops and generates momentum. Struggling with this? Break objectives into smaller components and tackle minor tasks first. These initial steps often create flow, making you eager for additional progress. Remember, imperfect action beats perfect paralysis. You can adjust course as you proceed, but you can't refine something you never begin. Step 5. Embrace imperfection. Perfectionist standards only create obstacles. We judge ourselves more harshly than anyone else would, but attempting something poorly vastly exceeds avoiding it entirely. There's wisdom in the saying that mastery requires failing repeatedly, and accelerating through those failures speeds your progress. Time to get moving. Grant yourself permission to be inexperienced, to stumble, to lack complete understanding. This mindset transformation alone dramatically reduces rumination since you've released impossible expectations. Step 6. Establish thinking boundaries. When facing a decision, allocate a specific time frame for consideration, then commit to choosing. Whether that's 10 minutes or 24 hours, deadlines prevent endless deliberation. When time expires, make your best call with available information and move forward. Course corrections remain possible later if necessary. Step 7. Externalize your thoughts. Overthinking often occurs because ideas circle internally without release. Discussing them with trusted individuals, friends, relatives, or counselors helps process these thoughts and frequently reveals clarity you couldn't access alone. Verbalizing concerns often exposes how disproportionate your worries have become. There you have it, a thorough exploration of overthinking and how to overcome it. Remember, rumination is a habitual pattern, and like all habits, transformation requires time and consistent practice. Show yourself patience while implementing these approaches. Some days flow easier than others, and that's perfectly normal. The objective isn't eliminating deep thought entirely, but rather avoiding unproductive mental loops that don't serve your growth. Drop a comment sharing what resonated most from this video, and contribute any techniques you've discovered. Your experience might provide exactly the insight another viewer needs. And if you found value here, show some love with a like and stick around for our next video. Until then, take care.